Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first of our studio streams for the Arcs campaign game. I'm Cole, and I'm joined today by Nick. Oops, let me turn that back on. Sorry. We always have little stumbles here at the start as I get everything going.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, sorry.
Technical difficulties.
Y'all didn't see the window had minimized itself because I had slightly adjusted the location of TTS on my monitor.
Oh no.
It's fine though. Everything looks good. I will not tinker. Hello. We're going to start that again. This is the first of our studio streams of the campaign game. We're going to be doing a 3-act game out over the course of the next 3 Thursdays. And we'll be starting today. I'm joined by Josh, who is playing Red. Say hi, Josh.
Hey there.
Josh is our editor at Leader Games. He also helps with tons of design, development, copy, and all sorts of things. He is. I feel like Josh, you have your hands in like almost every aspect of the company at this point. If there are words involved. And then we also have Nick Brockman. Nick, say hi.
Howdy.
Nick is playing Blue, and Nick is senior developer here. He has most recently been working on Ahoy, which we'll be talking about a lot after the campaign, and he took lead development on a number of root projects and also, of course, Fort. And then lastly, we have Elita Roberts. Elita, say hi.
Hello.
Alita is our summer production intern. We are lucky to have her back again. She was interning last year with us, and we had such a good time with both of our interns that we just invited them to come back for a second round. And Alita's been doing a lot of help getting the prototype kits ready and helping with some design and play testing and working on lots of the upcoming projects that we have. Today we're going to show you all the campaign mode. I am not going to be in this game. I'm just going to kind of serve as an MC and a cameraman, and I'll try to answer your questions in chat. And what we're going to do with these is basically we're going to be playing one of the campaigns in Arcs. And so if you've been following the Kickstarter, you know that Arcs is kind of a micro campaign game where the campaign is broken into 3 acts. Every one of those acts is actually a little bit shorter than a single session game. The single session game plays to 5 hands. The full campaign game is 3 games of 4 hands each. So the actual game tends to be just a tiny bit shorter in terms of the individual acts. And we are going to basically go through the first act today, and then we'll do the intermission step, and we'll kind of get everything set up for the next act. Then we'll save the game, pack up, and we'll see you all next week for the next part of the story. All right. And then the other thing I should say kind of right at the start before I get into the specifics is that we will be doing a release of the campaign mode next week, hopefully late next week. The campaign mode is not quite as polished as the single session mode, but we will be offering it to backers so they can check it out. We won't be doing like a huge print and play, just the TTS mod for people who want to explore it. And I think even if you stumble through it, you'll get a pretty good sense of how everything works and kind of the bigger scope of the game. So just know that that's what's coming down the pipe. And I'm sure Brooke here in the chat will let me know if there are other things I'm forgetting to mention. But I'll just say, before we get into it too, that we're all just extremely happy with how the campaign has gone. It's been wonderful to see so many folks playing the game and talking about it, and we're excited to show you more about how it works. Okay, so what I'll do before we start is offer people a little primer of how the campaign game is different. The campaign game uses basically almost all of the rules of the core game and then has about 15% extra rules which are used for the campaign game. So one of those is you'll notice we have these purple ships on the board. These are Imperial Ships, and they do a number of things in the game, but I just want you to be aware of their presence right now. So there are 6 Imperial ships, and you'll notice that the players are set up a little differently. They're only set up in Imperial systems, and there is some overlap right there. Now, this setup is possible because at the start of the campaign game, all of the players have a shared alignment. They are all Imperial regents. I'll kind of spotlight this card right here. And as Imperial regents, they kind of get to work together. They are allowed to kind of share control for purposes of movement, and they are not allowed to fight each other if one of the Imperial ships is in the region. So they're under a watchful truce. So, for example, in this region right here, the system, red and yellow can't trade blows because there's a police boat, a big Imperial ship sitting right there. But if this Imperial ship was moved out, they would be welcome to fight against each other, and then they would have to stop fighting as soon as it was moved back in. Okay, so that is what's going on here with the Imperial alignment, and we'll talk a little bit about how these alignments work later. There's also an outlaw alignment. Nobody starts the game in the outlaw alignment. Now, one of the biggest things you'll notice is that whereas the small arcs board has a little strip of market actions on the edge of the board, that strip isn't present here. And instead, we have this regime board, which does some of the same work, but also some other work. The biggest thing that you'll notice about it is that it has some of those familiar market spaces here in this row. This is called the public action row. But then instead of just stopping, the public action row keeps going. And as you play the game, different cards are added to the public action row, and they can kind of change the fundamental rules of the game. Now, of course, we've got objective cards. These work just like the base game, but we don't have private objectives, and there's no final objective. So we just have this little rolling objective market. Instead of personal objectives and final objectives, we have these bounties, though. So I'll spotlight the bounties briefly. The way the bounties work is these are targeted objectives that are ways of earning power. So, for example, red has a cube here in the Purge bounty. And this says, if you remove my last piece in a system, you've achieved this bounty. And what that means is you get victory points equal to the number of cubes in that box. So in this case, if you remove the last red piece from a system, you get 2 victory points. And then you'll note in the capture bounty, yellow here has a 1 capture bounty, which means if you take a card from yellow's hold, you get 1 victory point. Now, over here are the in-game bounties. Thank you, Josh. I was about to say something's not quite right. There should be 2 red. For the in-game bounties, you'll note that these are only scored at the end of the game, and these can be a few different things. One of them is a control bounty, and this is a fuel-type planet. And what this says is every fuel-type planet that you have more than blue, you get 2 victory points, or 2 power at the end of the game. So that's how the bounties work. I won't go through, and then, well, I will just go through them. The hold is going to be graded where red is going, or blue is going to, you're going to want more fuel than blue. And then I think yellow, this should be relics. Ooh.
Thank you.
No, you're good. You're good. And then proud, every system you control more than red is worth 2 points. Now, you might ask yourself, well, how do these cubes get out here? And I will tell you, they are set by the different objectives the players have. And that takes us to the next big difference between the campaign game and the short game. So we'll start here with Alita, yellow's objective. She's taking the role of the librarian. And you'll see at the start in that setup block, it says add the Great Library to your hold and then add a cube to the Relic Bounty and to the Capture Bounty. So the victory conditions that you have, or not the victory conditions, the objective cards that you have, the fate cards, those determine what bounties go out, which people can use to score victory points based on your position. Now at the bottom of Alita's card, you'll see that we have some resolutions. So for example, if she has the Great Library on the map, she gets to resolve packet 1. And if she has the Great Library only researched, so she researched it but didn't quite get it on the map, then she gets packet 3 instead. And if she can't do either of those things, then the game has kind of a little fail condition, which will still advance the state of the campaign, but doesn't resolve either of the plot. Okay, so that's the librarian. So we have Alita here is playing the role of the librarian. She starts with this great library in her hold. It's a difficult thing to research. It's got 5 different resources that you need to research it. And then once she has it on her board, it's very expensive to build. It costs 3 relics and 2 materials. Now you might ask, why are there 3 R's and 2 M's on the right and not icons? And I will tell you, It's because that's a lot easier to write for playtesting than dragging icons. So a lot of the cards in the campaign mode it's still very hot development, so we're doing a lot of testing. So they're not going to look as pretty as the stuff that we're showing, on the Kickstarter page and things like that. It's also worth noting that this Great Library card is a quest card. It doesn't count against her hold limit. It cannot be discarded. You can also force someone to give it back to you by spending an additional raid. So if she loses this, if someone raids this card away from her, she has a way that she can get it back, although it's sometimes a little tricky. Okay, so Alita here, playing the role of the librarian, off to build the library. Josh is playing the Imperial Steward. His goal is to get 8 systems under Imperial control. He wants to have a lot of the board under control. Critically, he doesn't start with any extractors. He just has factories and some weapons. So if he wants to build a kind of industrial platform, he's going to have to spend some time and effort making that happen. One thing about Josh's condition is currently all the players are Imperial, and there are 6 systems that are controlled by Imperial players. So Josh is already quite close to this condition. However, players might want to leave the Empire. They do this by spending an influence action. So for example, Alita can put an influence action here on the outlaw, and then as we are resolving influence actions, if she has an influence here, she can trigger an alignment change. Now, there are a couple rules about this. So for example, the regent, the Imperial regents, they have 2 different influence actions. You can higher power regents can exile weaker regents using this first influence action, or the second one, you can become a regent, but only if most of the regents approve of you joining. So there's a lot more detail there. Now, one reason you might want to leave is that we have a random tax. Every turn, a random tax is determined. This first turn happens to be fuel. And when we get to this step of the public action, if you can't play a fuel, you lose one of your action cards next turn. So it is not fun to be in the Empire. You have to pay for the fact that those ships are protecting you. Okay, so that's Josh's role. Now over here we have Nick, who's playing the ambitious Tycoon. And the Tycoon's goal is to have the most fuel in the game and 3 fuel extractors. And then his second tier condition is to have either one of those conditions instead of both. And so Nick has already kind of set himself up in a position to get a little bit of the jump on that. Now, one thing, so that kind of gives you an overview of the rules. One thing I'll say before I talk about the last section of the rules is that in the single session game, power is kind of the only thing that matters. You are playing to win after all. But in the longer game, victory points don't really mean anything. Players are free to decide what they want to pursue in any particular match. So you could go into a match and say, I really want to play the bounties and objectives and try to get the most points. Or you could go into a match and say, I don't care about getting the most points. I really want to fulfill my main quest. Or you could care about none of those things and instead say, I would really like to research these techs and to get powerful technology that will help me in a future match. It's kind of up to them. It's up to each individual player to decide what they think is important and what's going to add to the story and increase their chances. Now, what they're heading towards is in the third act of the game, every fate is going to have a victory condition on it. And if you get your victory condition at the end, and during that third round, you win the game. If multiple players get their victory conditions or no players get their victory conditions, the tiebreaker is power. So increasing your ability to get power is basically you're fighting over what could be the primary victory condition, depending on how the victory conditions sort out. That was a little confusingly said. Power, you're fighting for the tiebreaker, but if everybody has a score of 0, that tiebreaker is going to get really important. Okay, so last little thing to tell folks about is the Blight Attack. So the Blight has a role in the game, and I'll say more about the background and the story of this game probably next Tuesday when I do my design stream. But know that at the start of the game, this little empire is kind of shrunken. It's a small fragment of what it used to be, and it's a small fragment because of the Blight. And every turn at the end of the hand, we're going to roll a die, and if it's a raid die, and if the raid shows up, which is a 50-50 shot, all the Blight is going to attack everywhere. In addition, we have event cards. And these event cards are going to be mixed in the market, and the event cards cause Blight to spread. And so throughout the game, there'll be times when the Blight will be coming out. All right, so let's go ahead and we're gonna not start with that, of course. I guess I should have dealt these out before I mixed in the events. There we go. Whoop. Okay. All right. So there we have all that stuff going. Cool. And then one other little thing I'll mention is that over here in the top left, you'll see that we have a giant card vault. I'll just show people on stream what that looks like. These are all the cards that exist for the game right now. There's about 120, not all the cards, all the cards that exist in the campaign game, which is about 125 cards. These cards are going to be unlocked depending on what happens in the game, and we'll be talking about some of that stuff later. But just know that all that content is just kind of sitting here waiting. All right. Are there any questions from the folks on the stream?
No, ready to play.
No, yeah,
Excellent.
I'm all set. Yep.
All right, excellent. We are starting off with Josh here. I'm going to go ahead and make this window bigger, so I'm going to have to play with TTS or OBS for a second. So just hold, please, while I fix this, because I want the resolution to be as good as I can possibly get it for y'all. Okay, cool. And that looks pretty good. And there goes the UI. All right, let's get to it. And I will try to keep an eye on the chat and answer any questions that people might have. And if folks want me to zoom around my camera and see things, just let me know. All right, Josh, you have the initiative, so you get to start.
All right, here we go. All right, I think I'm going to start us off with a 5 mobilization. I'm going to scoot some ships down this way. I'm going to pick up a nice Imperial gunboat as I'm coming along and stop down on this material planet. So Blight goes there, and that is my turn.
Yep. So like the original game, the Blight is going to spawn wherever you move.
I will copy.
Okay.
And I'll also move, and I'm going to move. I'll move these two.
I'm waiting for the classic Nick fly people into the Imperial ships into the Ion Storm play.
I would never. Why would I group them? I would never do that. That's me.
You have my sympathies, Josh.
Yeah, look
As
at
someone
that.
who's on the end of that horrid strategy. I mean,
It gets played as a copy because
it's
it's not
the
high.
same.
It's the same, yeah.
just zoom those two over into the trade paths.
Someone asked if we're planning on streaming this in office as a physical kit. We were actually just talking about that. The office is a little full and we're getting ready to move, so we don't really actually have an easy way to stream this physically, even though we do have a kit. It's just not something that we'll be able to do during the campaign. All right, that's the first card. Josh holds initiative.
Okie doke. All right, let's get Blight hunting. Play the 1 aggression.
Yep, go ahead.
So I think for that we're going to spend
Oh,
a weapon.
really quick, Josh, also. Me and Alita both need to put a cube onto Purist, because we copied.
Yep, go for it.
Okay.
Disadvantage of being lead players that you can't get any of those Pierce points. All right, so I'm going to spend a weapon to add 2 more dice. Let's see. So we have a total of 5. Definitely want to kill these Blight, pretty rapidly. So I think that we're gonna go. I think we're gonna spend both weapons. So many times.
All right.
I've just said, I have these weapons, don't really feel like spending them because I want to save them for later, and I pretty much always regret it.
Yep.
So
Get
we're
them
gonna
out
roll a nice little mix there.
All right, and this is Josh's fight against the Blight. It's worth noting that he does get to roll for the campaign ship. My goodness, Josh, here we go.
Yep.
That's 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hits.
It's still good enough. 3 hits. I take 1, so...
Yep. And Josh can choose to damage the Imperial ship or his own ship.
Yeah, I don't want to damage the Imperial ship because I'm the Imperial Steward. I need my ships to survive. So that does get me a weapon. For my second battle, I will keep the weapon this time. So I just roll 3 dice, and we're gonna roll 2 raids and an assault.
There you go. And Josh is using those raids to take some resources. There
Yep.
you go.
So yikes, got hit real bad that time, but got another weapon, killed the blight.
A couple questions from the chat. Someone asked about how power plays into the future games. Power is a currency that you spend during the intermission to kind of like take little actions. So it can be quite important, where you can use power to finish researching, build ships, all things like that. Someone asked how much of the art in the game is final, and I'd say some is close to final, some is nowhere near final. For example, this map is something I bashed together using some assets Kyle gave me. He has not touched it at all. But other things like the action cards are getting kind of close-ish. If you're curious if the game will be beautiful, I recommend you just look at a photo of Oath. It will be as pretty or prettier. We all have pretty high standards here. And then someone else asked, when will you post the rules to the campaign mode? The rules for the campaign mode will probably be posted next week, and we'll probably post them in a Kickstarter update. All I'll say about those rules is they're just a lot less manicured, polished than the rules that you've already gotten. You're going to be getting kind of like the Google Doc that is close to our working document. But if you want to read the campaign rules, you'll be able to.
All right, I'm spending a fuel. Oh, sorry.
So I have one more action. I was just
my bad.
letting Cole finish
yeah.
up there. And for this last one, I'm gonna get these Imperial ships out of here. I don't trust this Tycoon to be a good steward of my ships. So we're gonna move these Imperial ships up into this system, and that is my turn.
Josh, just to double check.
Yes.
The planet you fought in, with it being a material, can you only get material then?
I'm sorry. Yes. First, I for some reason took weapons when I should have been.
Oh yeah,
taking
you're all
material.
good.
I was gonna say something, but didn't want to speak ill of the steward.
You know, we're still gonna do what I was considering. We're gonna spend the fuel. We're going to move this Imperial ship into here.
I sense shenanigans.
And
Oh,
then,
no.
I'm a part of the Empire, and they have a mission. These ships have a job, and their job is to go into the Ion Storm.
I love this.
Dear
So they're
Lord.
gonna move to here, and then they're gonna move into the Ion Storm. These are my brave individuals.
Yeah. So this is
Go ahead and explain, Cole. I'll grab my dice.
Yep. This is a classic Nick Gambit, which says, you know what? I would love the Empire to be weak, and I would love to get it weak by running its fleets into the Ion Storm, where at risk of damage, you might steal some things. Okay, so they take 3 hits, and you do get to take one resource of your choice, psionic or relic.
And I will take a psionic.
This is seriously bad news for Josh. He wants to protect those ships. But the manipulation of the Imperial ships is essentially an auction that's happening with move actions. So you want to, are you going to spend your move actions as influence, as move actions for your own fleets, or to influence the Imperial fleets?
Nick, that sounds like a great plan.
Oh,
They're just so good
boy.
at their job.
It's just pop them back
Dear
in
God.
there.
I love
Two
this.
traitors in the Empire already.
I know. Get them out of here. All right, that's 2 more hits. And did you roll these dice?
Yeah.
Okay, that's 2 hits, and then you can take a relic and a psionic, or. There you go. All right, the weakened Imperial fleet. Now,
Kicking you both out.
yeah, Josh does get some points for keeping his Imperial ships alive. So if he has a big repair card that he can spend next turn to start building them up. It's funny. There's been a bit of a conversation about like if repair is good on some of the playtesting discords, and what I'll say is in the campaign game, repair is very important because the map is big, and sometimes you need to repair things you can't replace, like an Imperial ship. Yeah.
All right, it looks like Alita takes initiative.
The crews on those ships are led by a tyrannical captain that wants to steal relics from the Ion Storm. So they're off on a crusade.
Let's see. Okay, so I Let me just do some math real quick.
Can more Imperial ships be built? Sort of. Eventually. There are things in the various narrative plot lines that change how the Imperial ships work, make them stronger or weaker, make you build them or not be able to build them.
So I'm going to use 2 of my actions given to me by this as discounts for 1 research. Then I'm going to pay 3 more research and research the Great Library.
There you go. All right. So using the ill-gotten gains from the Ion Storm, Alita researches the Great Library. This is a rare turn 1 library research. That's a tough get. Boop, and it goes on that slot. Oh my gosh. Sorry.
Why did you pick my library?
Well, didn't you? Yeah, you researched it. I wanted to make sure it was on the slot. And that was the lead
All
card.
right.
Josh.
So it comes to me, and the question is whether I think people are gonna still be blasting those Imperial ships over there. You know what? I feel like I need to prepare myself for additional treachery here. We're gonna set up a new factory down here on this material planet that I took. Spending 2 materials. I can have some more bases of operation.
Yep.
Also, I think I just threw my factory into an abyss somewhere. No, I didn't. I just didn't pick it up. There
you go.
Oh, and we should all have these. Last hand, me and Alita should have one from it.
Yep.
And then Josh should have one.
And then, I will get one.
Yep, and
all right, that's me.
I didn't actually go through these. Our victory points this turn are being earned for the Purist, which is follow or copy the most times. Whenever you follow or copy, place influence here. Right. And then Builder is having the most buildings on the map, which currently Josh is leading with 3. I will just, someone asked about quest items. Quest items can be rated. But when you are raiding someone, you can steal it back. So, let me restate that. So, quest items certainly can be raided. They can never be eliminated from the game. They can't be discarded. But an attacker may force you to give them this card by spending an additional raid. So they're both like easier to get and also easier to get back than the usual hold card.
I played just this to just extract.
Okay.
Cool. 1 fuel for my planets.
Sounds good.
There you go.
Looks like I get initiative.
And we are on the third card of the first hand.
All right, now we'll start repairing these Imperial ships because my God, the 2 traitors, the game of 2 traitors.
Yeah, although Josh, you're going to have the points to start doing exiles.
Exactly.
Great question. What do the numbers and symbols on the map mean? Those are the system codes. Just a very rough first attempt to identify them. When you tear down the game, you can use them to help know where things are. And then there are some quests which rely on, on the different symbols and numbers. But what you're looking at here is the sector ID. The game has 6 sectors. So these 4s are all in Sector 4, for instance. And then anything on the edge of the map to indicate that it's on the edge has a little boundary around it. And anything that's not on the edge of the map doesn't have that boundary. And then the symbols are just keyed to different things in the game.
Yep. Tools for making plot lines.
Yep. Yeah, that so much of the campaign development right now is making sure that the grammar of the game is strong enough to build all the stories we want. So do you need to track where everything is at the end of game 1 to set up game 2? Yes, we have. Boy, I wish I had a camera up. I could show you what we use for that. Actually, you know what? I could just turn on a camera, couldn't I? I don't think I can, actually, because of how Discord works, unfortunately. But I will I can send a picture. We'll just share it later. We'll have single tear sheets that you can use to record your game state. It's pretty easy, actually. There's a little notation system, and it doesn't take very long to set up.
All right, so Nick, You played a construction card and spent out some fuel, yeah?
Seems like something's wrong on his end.
Uh-oh. Have we lost a Nick? He's hosting this game, so.
Better hope he stays up.
I'm gonna give him a second, and then I'll go check on him. Oh wait, he's not sure what's wrong. We'll figure it out.
But he is done with his turn, I presume.
Yes. I'm gonna go check on. Oh no, he's gone out of the Discord. Hopefully he knows that he can't leave because he's hosting the game. All right, it's good. I'll catch up on questions. How many fates are there? There will be eventually 24. 8 at each of the 3 lengths. Which I'm still trying, and Jess, I'm sure you've seen me struggle to articulate this, the right way to describe how much campaign content there is. Because I think the best way to explain it is to say there are 8 campaigns, and then the campaigns they have 3 acts with binary choices in between the acts. I'll come help you. All right.
I think I can restart.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
Is it just the...
No, like all audio. I think it's like a RAM thing, like all my audio. Like I can't even play YouTube video suddenly. Or like whatever. I just clicked the Twitch stream to see.
Okay. Did you...
The trials and travails of streaming.
Is your audio settings? Yeah. Okay, weird. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll just do a quick restart. Yeah, I got it. All right, so we've now figured out what's up. Sorry about that. It's live television, folks. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we have to do a quick restart, but Nick has saved the game. So he just needs to restart his computer really quick because his audio has totally bugged out, which I don't understand why that happened, but we'll figure it out later. So don't worry, and we can use this as Q&A time while we look at the Tabletop Simulator screen. Okay, so sorry. While we get all this stuff up, and we'll wait for Nick. Let me finish what I was saying about the different plot lines. So like there are these 8 plot lines, and then every plot line has kind of 3 chapters, and then at the end of each chapter, or the first 2 chapters, there's a binary choice, and or potentially there are 3 different choices, and so there's some like astronomically large number of permutations in there, but that's sort of how it's all structured. I'm not turning on that music, Eric. Yes, and he, I will say that this game state is all saved and good, so we shouldn't have any trouble there.
Gotta have at least one problem per official stream.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I don't know what's wrong. Sometimes Nick's computer.
Of course.
Do the plot lines plan on converging? So, not really. So they can't help but converge because they're all coexisting. And so something one player does to you will have impact that will go to the next one. There are places where we can have contents gated between certain plot lines interacting. We haven't really explored that, but it is possible in the system. So yeah, there's only 8 seeds at the start of game 1. That's exactly right, Smithy Elliott. I am going to turn on this music if Nick doesn't get here soon, but I'm going to turn it on only in his office.
Do we want to prep a technical difficulty screen for?
I think this is a good thing to add.
The little person with the shovel and like the caution sign.
Someone asked about the Oath expansion, which I can't really talk about only because I'm not working on it right now. I'm working on Arcs, and Arcs is eating my time. How do you decide what seeds you get? So we the way it works is there'll be 8 seeds in the campaign expansion, and you deal 2 to each player at the start of the game, and they pick 1. And that might not seem like a huge amount of variety, but every seed has as much possibility or more than like a single faction of root. So it's almost like an 8-faction game where there's a lot like I've played the librarian path like many times. And And like depending on the other seeds that are in play and the other things that might be happening, the rolling objectives, the tech cards, there's a lot of different things that can happen there. When is Ahoy hitting retail? We'll be talking about Ahoy a lot after the Kickstarter campaign, and especially later in the summer. But we do not know for sure when it's hitting retail yet, because it's hard to predict things that go on boats right now.
All right, it looks like the server is back up.
And the server's back, yeah.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
Welcome back, Nick, you traitor.
So before
I just
did was
revealed-
pivot and build.
Gotcha.
My move that broke the whole thing.
This is probably some galactic karma for that the traitor's actions.
Any are the fates? So I'm going to answer a few questions as we get kind of everybody loaded back in here with the caching and whatnot. Nick, you should switch to blue so I can be yellow.
Oh, thank you. Yep.
And then give me a promote.
Give you the promo and all that.
Sweet, thank you. All right, this looks good. Let me size that correctly. Looks good. Okay, great. How prescriptive? Okay, so there's a bunch of little narrative questions I'm just going to kind of answer in a big group. How prescriptive are the narratives? There's a lot of different ways to do it. So like this is not a game about what you're doing, it's a game about how you want to do it. And there's just a lot of different strategies and ways that you can build into the plot lines. And also, because your player position is getting ported directly into the next game, what you do with your end game, it's not like you just finish your goal and sit on your hands. Instead, you have to be thinking about what the next game is gonna look like. So there's a lot of different ways to play. Yes, Librarian is one of the seeds. The plot lines are designed to be mixed and matched with future content. So the like a root expansion, we're hoping that if the game does well, every future campaign expansion will have about 5 or 6 more, at least 4, I think 4 to 5 more plot lines at every length. And so it'll really start, ballooning out the different possibilities. And then, there's lots of little questions that we don't need to really get into. And we'll talk about all that stuff later. Josh, you're all set? Everyone's good?
Right, yep.
All right.
All right, let's continue repairing these beleaguered Imperial.
There you go. All right, what you're waiting for. After the act break, we fixed another ship.
Yep.
Just I will influence. There.
Copy and extract.
Oh, I suppose for the purpose of being good at this game, I might as well copy to get an extra.
There you go.
Yeah,
I just get an extra coupon here.
So
yeah,
good.
Yeah. Might as well keep the. I don't think Josh will catch up, but might as well do it.
Yep. Alrighty, last action.
What was your last card?
Last card.
Oh man, you got a grip of 4s and 5s that hand.
Yep, exactly. So I think for this one, this is somewhat more tricky. I am still concerned about these Imperial ships getting pushed back into the Iron Storm. I kind of want to wait until I can get them nice and far away. So I think what we're going to do is start just chugging these... Start chugging these ships down into the center of the map. And that's me.
Alright, I'm going to... What do I need more of?
So someone asked me for the difference between a seed and a plot line, and I'm using those terms somewhat interchangeably, but I think if I were had to really sit on it, I would say that the seeds are part of the plot lines, so that like a Act 1 seed kind of initiates a player's plot, and then over the course of that plot line, they're going to maneuver through many different fate cards. Some of those fate cards could be called in through random seeds. Some of them might be follow-ups on previous things that they've accomplished. The third objective is the Antiquarian, which is not active right now, but it will be coming up in the next game. Whoops, sorry, I forgot. My frame is going to block that off. There you go.
That's me. I'll do this just for another influence. Threw it over here.
All right, sounds good.
Funny note about the voids.
Okay, guys,
We
go
did
steal
have a version where they disappeared into the map, but players kept thinking that they were spaces. So that I put these big, thick gray walls on them so that players knew where they couldn't go. But again, Kyle will draw it. It'll be beautiful and wonderful, but we just haven't gotten to that part yet.
And it's all you, Alita.
Yeah. You took the spot I want to influence, so just gotta contemplate for a sec. That feels like it's gonna be useful. I'll just.
All right.
And that
Josh
is
keeps
the
it.
hand.
All right. So going over to the end of hand board.
All right.
First
Yes.
of all, trade pass at the end of
Yep,
the hand.
that's the
Take
first thing that
one
happens.
material, fuel, or weapon for each of these systems you control.
First of
So I'm
all,
gonna take
Blight Attack.
My taxes.
Is there any Blight that could
There's
attack?
currently no blight.
All right, so
Okay.
Blight. We don't need to roll for the Blight Attack. Cool. And then we do the trade paths, and then
Oh yeah, I see. It's Blight then trade paths. That's it.
Oh,
And then
We're
factory
gonna-
will produce.
Yep.
Yeah, it didn't matter in this case at all. Factory will produce. Extractors will
Extract-
extract. And I'll get 2 fuel. 'Cause
Yep.
I have 2 extractors.
And then Alita will get the Void Siphoners. These 2 cards will get discarded. And then everybody who's a citizen needs to pay their tax.
Boo. Only the steward cannot pay the tax.
Oh, no.
See, I mean, you know,
Josh.
it's.
this is the
I
opposite
think,
of
Josh,
last
maybe
week.
you're the one who doesn't know what the Empire wants, because me and Alita both agree that the Empire wants to go into the Ion Storm.
Yeah, the Empire wants to go this way. And then what we'll do is I will flip this over, shuffle it, and then flip it back over, and it's fuel again.
Oh, no.
No
Okay.
fuel,
Ah.
baby.
And then, so Josh has to pay 1 card from his next hand.
Yeah,
correct,
so he
for the tax.
and he'll just draw 1 fewer is the way it's written right now. And then we have to score objectives. So the purist is
It's gonna be Alita.
it's
Yeah.
Alita.
Oh, Alita, and then Nick.
That
And,
would be one.
Alita, then Nick, and then Josh. You're winning builder.
All
right.
right. Tied.
Nope, there's
each
a
have 3.
tie.
Oh.
So we each get 2.
Thanks for moving me to 10. Felt good.
Yeah.
There you go.
No problem.
And Alita's got 2 points. There we go. And then this falls off. I will return your cubes to you, or you can return. You can get your own dang cubes.
And then are we still doing last person in the round gets to draw 8, discard to 6?
Yes, correct.
Cool. Thank you.
What happens if you can't pay? You lose an action. Use one of your action cards. Right now, my preference is to have the board not be modular. I think that there's a couple places where we can make it modular, but just from like an illustration and story perspective, I think that we can do more work by having static boards and then having lots of different static boards that we can actually balance, as opposed to building a modular system. Because probably part of the problem that happens with fully modular boards is it seems like a good thing. You want them, but then they get kind of samey and flat and just like, you know, kind of like blandly heterogeneous, whereas a board that we get to actually test and develop can have some like very funny elements. We can even name parts of it, things like that.
All right,
got-
are we all ready to go?
Yep, I put out new market cards as well, so everybody knows. We got some new stuff there.
All right, we'll take a
And
look
yeah,
at what
fuel's
we're
gonna be the
scoring.
tax
So
again.
it's builder here, and then most relics from Antiquarian. And then in the market, we've got the Hunters Guild, Sprinters, and the location of a trove. Now, one thing I'll say about these tech cards is this game uses a different tech deck than the single session game, and the tech cards are a little bit more expensive. And they're more expensive because if you get them for the rest of the game. And so it's usually, that can be quite a good thing.
All right, I'm going to start us off in a more peaceful manner. We're going to construct I'm going to construct an extractor down here on this planet, and I'm going to use one of those as a discount. And that is my turn.
Okay. I'm going to... Josh. Got a lot of choices here. I will...
So while Nick's thinking, somebody asked a question about, where was that? What happens if all the players switch to single ship mode? And the answer is, we actually haven't had that happen in testing because I don't think it's technically possible with the seeds that have been designed so far. It will be possible. It shouldn't break anything though, because the single ship mode positions are a lot more open than the Vagabond. So for example, you can still have some buildings, you can still build ships, or you could really be a nomad and be on your own. There's like a lot of different ways the single ship mode can look in the game.
What is going on?
Rude.
Nick is just...
I'm playing Arcs.
You're
Playing Arcs. Get in there. Someone asked about the choice of resource cards rather than chits or minis. Why? Well, a bunch of reasons. One, lets us put more art, lets us put text on them a little bit bigger, but also it allows us to like randomize them. So all these cards have the same back, for instance. So if we need to like randomly take a card, we can easily do that. And then players can stack them or they can fan them out however they'd like. So we just kind of liked keeping them as cards.
Oh, okay.
It's also easier to store between games.
All right, Nick. Do your dirtiest.
Okay. There are some choices to be made here.
I feel like this game and Oath are both like just love letters to cards as a part of game design, as an object, because they both use them a lot to do many, many different things. I don't think we're going to make the player boards bigger. The box size, so the actual box size is about this big. So the player boards are a little bit smaller than the root player boards, and so we don't want, I don't want this to be eating up the table space. And also for people playing on small tables, I like that you can stack up your hold and then fan it, or kind of keep it in a cascade.
So I spent a fuel again to move into Josh's home here.
You should know that I don't have anything in my hold, so...
Thanks for telling me that, so I don't grab the right dice for no reason.
I gotta be an honorable opponent.
I appreciate that. I glanced at the fuel planet, my eyes grew. My eyes glowed green with envy. Alright, in that case. We'll do it like...
I hope you roll D's.
I know, it'd be a real shame. I just really need to get it out of there.
Boop.
Wow.
3 hits. Wow. Love that.
Wow, look at that.
And then take your power.
Point.
And then also,
2 points.
you get 3 points total because you purged them out of the system.
Oh, thank you. I only grabbed 1 so far. 1, 2, 3. Cool.
Steward on the ropes. This is terrible.
That's it. That was my 1 aggression card. That was the 5. Man, I really like this game, you guys.
Yeah.
Just
plug. You guys should. If only there was a way to like purchase this game.
Yeah, show how much you like it in some like tangible way. Wow, I can't believe, Nick, you are just raffle stomping the poor steward here. Although, Josh, what are you gonna do?
There are funny things.
A lot of funny things happening.
He's stealing the ship.
The absolute temerity of these regions. All right. For me, what direction do we want to go with this? I suppose that we will. Man, Nick, you're just really Just driving the dagger in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Putting the
Josh
boot down.
considers his strategy. Somebody asked about like what's the design process on the maps, and it's so iterative. Maps are.
Yeah.
I feel like when I'm working on maps, I come up with like 4 or 5 rules, and then I build something that fits those rules, and you just test it, and you're like, oh, actually, there needs to be a 6th rule because this doesn't work, and then you just keep going. But
Then you have like a 20-minute meeting about moving a planet, and you're like, yeah, I think that's a good change.
Yeah,
and then you do it, and you're like, yeah, that's about.
You're like, yeah, on the like the locations of like the wormholes, trade paths, and a couple of planets on the small arcs board, endlessly debated. And so it's just a lot of like fine tuning. In terms of like player identity and art, we're not going to be coding the players to specific science fiction races because I don't agree with that aesthetically or philosophically. But I have thought about the way these fate cards work. They actually don't need to have a generic back. And so one of the conversations I was going to have with Kyle is that like if it's in the art budget, it may make sense to have all the fate cards have a character back so that when a player is playing the game, they can just have that character back and then they can flip this and refer to what they need on it, you know, whenever it's relevant, just to give them a little bit of like grounding. And that can also do fun things where like because the fate cards are links, you can have like a character getting older. You know, there's some interesting ways of playing around with that.
I was making sure, Josh, you did your actions right. I wasn't.
Yep, I
wasn't paying
influenced
attention.
the all factories.
All right.
All right.
I've got the lead still. If I was paying more, me and Josh each have only 3 cards because he was taxed and I seized once. But this is a big turn. Yeah, let's. If we lose the initiative, that's just fine. I'm gonna build. So I'll use one of the cranes to build. I'll use the other 2 as discounts to discount my factory or my extractor. Sorry,
Okay.
buy a materials and a fuel, and I'm gonna get another extractor out.
Oh my gosh, Nick, good hand. Yeah, one of our ways.
It was an important time to know when to seize with this hand. It was a weird one for sure.
One way we're thinking about potentially doing some soft modularity on the board is to have like different effects here and then little tokens that you put on neighboring spaces. So like maybe the trade paths are going to be up here in one game, or you could move the Ion Storm over there. But we're still sorting all that stuff out. The cards in the game are all poker sized. They're all U.S. poker sized. I don't think there are going to be any differences in that. And the current plan for us is not to offer sleeves because poker sized sleeves are so widely available.
All right, building 2 ships, and I take initiative.
Oops.
All right.
I'm getting a lot of questions about like future seeds, and I think I'm going to just avoid spoilers. But like,
Yeah, I was like, I'm
there's
like,
like a
do you want
weird,
it? Yeah.
It feels so. As some people in this chat know, I spent my morning pretending to be a historian in this game's world, and writing this like long, like goofy piece of fanfic about this game. And I'm like, I don't think I share this with anybody except the design team because I don't want people to know all these things. And so the world building for this game is really funny because I'm doing a ton of work on it, and then I want to not show it to anyone and just hide it in the game. Okay.
They're traitors surrounding me, so I'm going to continue building up.
Continue
ships.
building.
Yeah,
up,
I think you need to play the long game here. Although the
fair.
Empire might hang together. I mean, if they're not
Yeah,
leaving.
it really depends. It really depends.
Man, and I'm also still an Empire.
You are indeed still a regent, my friend.
Yeah, that's fine, I guess. It really matters what Alita has here. I'm going to use this to move. These are gonna go exiting this giant ion storm up to here.
There you go, sticking them in the corner. The lost
My
fleet.
lord, my
Put the
lord.
Imperial ships in a corner.
Thanks, bud.
Hey, there you go. All right, enjoy. You're free. Yeah. They just have
We're
a
just
fishing
playing.
net.
We're playing pinball right now.
Yeah.
Oh no. Let's see.
Honestly, I was hoping they wouldn't even last this long, but
Here
All right,
we
here
are.
we go. Back into
Oh,
the
by the
Ion
way,
Storm.
important context for this. The Imperial Steward gets a point for each of those that survive this game.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want them up.
I don't think
don't
we
want them
mentioned
to.
Oh, look at
that.
that. That's only one hit on the Imperial ships, and you get 2 things. There you go.
Pretty good.
sounds.
That is correct. There are no wormholes on the campaign map. The wormholes are just a feature of single session play.
Josh, you still keep it.
Well, fine.
Yeah, fix them.
All right. I think that we're going to take Sprinter, or we're going to put down one on Sprinters, and... Yeah, we gotta keep pumping out the forces. Another one on all factories.
Okay.
Somebody asked about... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
No, you're good. You're good. I'll finish my turn. I'm just gonna do this to put 1 influence here, and I'm worried enough about Alita. I'm gonna spend a psionic to put another influence on it. Yep. Oh man, I almost want the location of the trove. No, this will be good. That's it. And I technically take this right now.
There are 7 of each resource card, and if it's empty, it's empty. That's for sure. And then, my goodness, I swear I read a good question. I just totally forgot. Well, oh well. I'm not going to worry about it. It probably is much further up in the chat. All right. And that's Alita's play?
Yes.
Yep, indeed.
Just debating between 2. Let's see.
She's getting close to building it. So the actual construction library takes 3 relics and 2 materials. And the advantage of the library is once per turn, if the library is on the map, you can draw a random card from the market discard pile and add it to your hold. Oh, and then you have to discard a card from your hold. So this discard pile right here, you have access to.
Let's see.
Oops, sorry. Let me fix my camera here.
Oh dear, this is always where I get stuck. Let's see.
And you will be playing out both of those because both of
Yeah.
us are out of cards at this
Yeah,
point.
keep in mind, yeah, you're gonna
But
get
it's which
full.
one do I want all the powers on?
Sure.
Let's see.
Hits on Imperial ships can be assigned however you'd like.
There we go. Then clear those.
Disrespect.
All right, I have no cards, just like Josh. So it passes to you. Take your card.
Who don't like that.
Pretty good one to have on the
The
back.
held mobilization.
Or wait. I actually think I'm actually gonna discard a... Is that a bad idea? That might be a horrible idea.
Tough to say.
So, for the audience, currently considering discarding one of my relics and building the Void Siphoners just so I can clear out my hold to gain a bit more in the interface.
Have a bit more space, yeah, that makes sense.
Or end of hand.
Mhm.
It'll be fine. No, wait.
It'll be
No, wait.
fine.
I am actually going to do that because I'm going to need room to hold my taxes.
Ah, yeah, watch out. Oh, you're gonna get... This is a bad hand for taxes.
So we're going to do that and then build.
So the Void
Void
Siphoners.
Siphoners.
You would need to spend out a third kind of resource to research that.
So
Because
the
you
relic...
did 2 materials.
The relic is you may discard this to research, spending -1 resource.
So then you need 2 resources, so you'd have to spend another relic and then a research. Yeah, so here, let me walk it back a second. So you had this, right?
Yes.
So you spend this for the action,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're researching it for 2 instead of 3, but it has to be 2 different.
Oh, it's for build only, not research. Gotcha.
That's the
That's where I got lost.
That's where.
Thank you.
Okay, cool.
That's what I was getting you. I see.
Okay. Let's see. Maybe I just end up losing a bit to taxes. That's fine. Or, no. Outlaw ship is insane at this point. So we'll just throw a couple influence on there.
Yep. Okay.
Grove's not bad.
Alrighty.
Oh no.
That's the end of the hand.
That's the end of the hand. All right, let's go on to the next part.
Alright. Blight attacks. There's no blight out yet. Or not yet, but we've wiped it all up. Trade paths. Alita gets a trade path trigger. Josh
Wait, gasoline.
gets some factory production.
Yep.
Me and Alita stay tied on extractors, so neither of us get anything. And then Alita gets sprinters.
All right,
Other cards
excellent.
go away.
And then
That happens.
that happens. And then pay your fuel.
Pay your fuel. Alita, that was really mean to take the extractors from me because now I don't have fuel to pay.
Sigh. Also.
Yeah,
I
no, that
also-
was rough. It was rough. I was just sitting here silently, just hoping it wouldn't happen. Maybe.
Everyone gets a little lick of the trade.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
trading.
Alright,
Except me.
that's-
I haven't betrayed anyone yet. I'm still a wonderful.
You're just a good boy. All right, and then
I'm
going
just a
through these
good
score.
boy.
We got builder. I have 4 out right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
so I
You will be
almost-
getting first. I will be getting second.
Mm-hmm. And then who has most relics? It's Alita
It's gonna
Yes,
be
indeed.
Alita.
for 3, and then I don't think
And
anybody
nobody
has
for
second.
second.
Yep.
Yep.
And now we're scoring
Second.
Psionic next. Yep. And there's. Oh, and then that one needs removed.
Needs to be fixed.
That one's not supposed to be in there. Cool. Control the most material planets. Oh, and then take your cubes back here.
Someone asked a great question, which is how often does the whole map come into play in the campaign mode? And by the end of the 3rd act, it will all be in play. But 1st act, this is a pretty normal spread.
What's our new taxes?
No, these.
Oh yeah, what is the new
Oh, yeah,
taxes?
new-
Let's
new
find out.
tax.
No fuel. No fuel. No.
Oh,
Are
Oh,
you
Lord.
joking me?
Oh,
Can we just
my
shuffle it again?
Lord.
No, that's real. I mean, this is
No.
real. This is.
That's.
yeah,
I mean,
okay.
I hit the shuffle button.
Yeah, no, I just searched the deck to make sure it wasn't another error, different error. Yeah, no,
Literally
there's 5
the
different cards in there.
Literally the entire deck is just
It's
fuel.
cool. Yeah, no, it's not. They're different.
That'd be like.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't. I'm the fuel tycoon. I shouldn't complain. But,
yeah, seriously, get on it, Nick.
I'm at the back of the order, so I get the 8.
We all just end up not fully completing our objectives.
I love that. Just everybody gets desperate. Everybody goes desperate. Yeah, I'll turn off the
And
UI
this
there.
is hand 3. Perfect. Cool. All right, I need
Am
to discard
I
down.
leading
And
technically?
You're leading.
then-
Yep.
You're leading.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
And importantly, neither of the Blight spread events have happened, so they're both sitting
And
there.
you should have one less card in it because you
So
did not
they're
pay your
both gonna
taxes.
trigger.
Oh yeah. So this is actually a good question. So should I? Here, actually, I want to put all these cards back. When does the tax happen? Do I like?
It happens before you draw, so you draw
Before
one
I even
fewer
draw.
card.
You
Okay.
draw one fewer card.
Let me just get these all out. I'm throwing them all back in. I get 7.
Leaving the Empire is just a single influence action. You just have to click on Outlaw. But the problem with being an outlaw is then you're an outlaw, and those Imperial ships you can't move them, and they might be coming to visit you.
Okay. I will
All
get
set to
rid
start,
of
everyone?
this
Oh.
and no, you're good.
Yeah,
Just
he's
one
finishing his
second.
draft.
Yeah.
And I will say, you know,
Card
with
draft.
that interruption, we're about like half an hour, 45 minutes into the game. Actually, less than 45 minutes. We're probably close to half an hour, and we are like halfway through. So
Okay.
once you know how to play a 3-player game, you can finish an act in an hour or a little bit more than an hour.
All set?
Arcs
Yep, I'm all
can
set.
end on the second session in certain plot lines. There won't be any fourth session design because it's just you can imagine, right, a binary tree branching. It's just way too much content.
Okay. Building at a discount of 2.
Cool.
Okay,
I think.
That's
You're gonna
it.
do
We
it?
got to build the thing.
there you go. Got it in
Yeah.
hand 3. Not bad.
Go destroy the library, everyone. Go.
There it is, and she chooses to. She's got a lot. I mean, you could even put it here if you wanted. So critically, you can put it anywhere. You want to put it right there.
And then once I become an outlaw, I could destroy it.
Just right away, and there's the library. All right.
Okay. Let's see. How do we want to do this?
What card are you gonna play, Josh?
What am I even going to play? Okay, I think I'm going to play the 2 construction, and I am going to seize as well because I really do not
Really
want Nick to
unfortunate.
scoop me on
It's
this.
really unfortunate.
Yep.
Quite unfortunate.
So we're going to build a few more ships. And Nick.
That makes things harder. I want to. That was a really mean seize, Josh. We will just. Do I even care about my ships? That's the problem.
Someone asked, will there ever be a 5-player expansion for Arcs? Maybe. It's actually easier to imagine that than a 1 or 2-player expansion. It's just that we have to design a ton of content to get that to work. So it's something that would naturally happen in the future, but probably is going to be happen now. And then somebody else asked, how committed do we usually get to a theme? I mean, I always think about it as very much like a dialogue where when you're working on a design, there's like a few different themes that you might want to be doing, and then you go back and forth, and then what happens to me at least is as I get into a game, I get more and more bought into the theme. Like right now, or not right now is a bad example, but like even 6 months ago, I was very much like, this is a space game. I like the conventions of science fiction. I don't want to retheme it to be a fantasy game or anything like that. So once I cross that Rubicon, I'm stuck. All right, Josh.
Here's what we're going to do. And Nick is probably thinking that I'm going after him right now, but that's not true.
It only looks like it.
It only looks like it. I'm going to be moving this Imperial ship out, and I'm going to be raiding Alita.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. You got to get the Empire out so that you can fight.
Exactly. You go over there.
I was starting to expect it, yeah.
Here, we'll turn the ship around so it won't look at what's happening.
Exactly. Don't
Over
look
your
at
eyes,
it.
ship.
Don't look at it. So we're going to start. So we have potentially two battles here. So we're going to start with. We'll just start with the 4 raid probably. Because we want to get some cards.
Want some stuff.
We gotta raid these cards away. We want this stuff. So here we go. 4 raids. That's what we're looking for. 2 cards, please, Alita. Indeed.
Oh man. Brutal. Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, sorry, loud keyboard.
I was trying to think. I was like, why can't I hear it? It's because I'm listening to you on Discord.
Yeah, so we've been crispered out.
Yeah. The CRISPR pick blocks out your keyboard for me.
No. I just have my text.
Keep your psionic.
Yeah. You don't have enough
alright,
to
so-
research them anyway.
Yeah,
That's
it's true.
Yeah. So that's 2, and then for my 3rd, I feel like we gotta put a little pressure on the fuel magnet as well. So we're gonna move those 2 in there. Yep.
All right.
All right, that's me.
And Josh, did you get your points for
I did not. So I get 2 points
Yep.
for stealing 2 cards from Alita.
Yep, that's the capture
good
bounty.
Call, good call. Okay. I would like to.
Did you get no hits on me? Oh, wait.
You take
We
1
didn't-
hit and I take 2. Yep.
Okay.
This is a tough choice. I want to. Extract. I'm gonna extract another fuel.
Yeah, get that objective.
And do I want? Let's see. I do. I need that. I need it.
You need this.
I
needs it.
need it. Yeah, especially
Hello
when
again.
I knew I
gonna
wasn't
be-
gonna get it. But yeah, just
Yeah,
bring
I
him
was like,
back
I'm
to
gonna
watch.
guess that means that Alita has a lot of aggression cards right now.
Yep,
He heard-
this is where I'm at. Yeah. Okay.
You
that
heard
was
the
your move, right, Alita?
noise. Yep.
So,
Okay.
A mover battle, Alita.
It's they just moved the ship back in. That's
Yeah.
good.
Got it. Great.
And
Okay.
so that you can't
Very good.
now
I'm back.
Dad's here
I'm
again
back.
and you can't fight me. You can't fight me.
How? Wait, sorry. How does Alita have 4 cards?
Because me and Josh both paid the tax.
Well, Vegas and do the C's. Okay,
and
that's what I
seized.
thought. I just wanted to double check.
It is correct. It's that bad. That's how desperate me and Josh are for act. Yeah, this game. So I'll say, seizing is like a critical part of getting the most of your actions. I think there's times where
100%.
certain hands you simply have to, and this was one. Okay, I want to. Okay. Start of your turn. Discard 2 normal. All right, here we go. I'm going to use 1 fuel.
Okay. Nick is playing this very close to the edge.
I'm bringing an adult in.
Yeah. Come on.
I'm also bringing in a parent. And then I'm playing this, and I'm going move these out, move them in.
Oh no!
Absurd.
That's fine. They both
That's
died.
it. They both
They're gone.
died.
Boom.
All right. I wish we got goods.
I got it.
All right. So that was move, and then I have 1 influence or move still, and with that, I need to. I don't want to send them back to the storm, but I know that's not
Throwing
correct.
the parents into the fire.
I know. We'll throw another one on extractors here. My final influence. That's me.
Getting very Warhammer 40k vibes from the Iron Storm, like the far off Emperor's like, you must traverse the Iron Storm again.
I just go on the campaign game we played where I needed a relic and I traveled with a small fleet across the map to go to the Ion Storm to get it. It was at a very 40k moment. Oh, what is this? All right, there you go.
And then I'm gonna throw it up there.
Oh man, Alita betraying Nick now.
And
Oh,
I love that.
Wait, I missed it.
And
What
now
did you
it's
do? Oh, you threw
trapped
him
in
up
the
there.
blight.
Sure.
yeah.
Exits
funny,
the
I like
Ion
that.
Storm into the blight. It now can't move because it does not control its location.
Yeah. Or its destination, yeah.
That's actually that's a sneaky way, Josh, to save a big Imperial fleet here. You could strategically move them out
Oh, yeah.
to lock them to the blight planets just to keep them alive.
All right, I will play the 5 mobilization, and let's see.
I'm honestly
Yeah.
very
How-
impressed that no one took the 6-star
do.
fuel planet.
What has been happening here? Let me give it a little pressy. So everyone is still regents, but they are the most bickering, backstabbing regents we've seen. They got together. They sent the Imperial fleet off into the Ion Storm to get all sorts of treasures. And while that was happening, they just tore each other apart. Alita has used what she got from the Ion Storm to build her library. Nick is kind of setting up a good extracting empire, but just hasn't hammered the fuel yet. And then Josh is kind of struggling to play police person here.
I mean, I had to push Josh. My whole beginning game was pushing Josh off of this fuel planet. So,
Yes.
So Arc 1 was a success for me so far.
All right, so I basically swappy dude these ships over here. I take initiative.
What's your card?
'cause I still have initiative, and we'll end friendly. So,
Sure.
just keep building up the fleets. Keep building up the fleets. That's me.
I'm going to throw out. Alita has 3 cards right now that they're gonna play.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's so bad. I'm gonna go like this for now. That's it.
Okay.
If there's anything in my life I want, it's just to pull Alita finally off of this dang trade path.
I
so
know.
He can not pay taxes like the rest of us
I
schmucks.
know. Actually, have to try to do it.
If it ever flips into something. Let's see. Okay, and now it's just all
Now
me.
it's you. Yep, it's all you. For
So,
your
you
two
just get to
remaining
play 2 cards
I am now
for
the
full
only
actions.
player left.
Oh my
Let's
gosh.
see.
2
cards.
ones.
Oh my god.
I have to leave, guys. Actually, I forgot. I have a thing. Yeah, I forgot I have a thing. I have a different obligation.
Let's see. We'll start here.
Sure.
Let's see. I'm going to repair 1 and extract 1 and influence 1.
Me at the time. Yeah, season's great. You definitely got to do it now. Completely regretting all of it.
Yep.
We'll just I'll repair 1 Imperial ship. It'll be fine. Let's see. And
Repairing an
then...
Imperial ship. What a good regent.
What a good regent.
Thank you. Let's see. And then I get to do some influencing. Or some moving. Actually.
Yeah, not only 2 cards back to back, but 2 low cards.
2
back.
1. Yeah, both of the ones with full actions is you never get that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really good.
Let's do. Oh man, I could take all of these.
Is
Yes,
this
you
correct?
could. At 1, even.
You could become a exile. I don't know if you
Dream.
want to.
I do not at this point.
No, I'm still feigning like I'm a good boy.
Look at this. Oh my god.
Can you not do this?
I love that. Lock it up.
Oh
Throw
my
away
goodness.
the key.
Can my mouse just chill out? There we go.
Okay.
Only once you chill out, Alita. You gotta chill out first.
Oh man, you're so right. Okay. So we probably should resolve that, huh?
Yeah. That was all of them. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
right.
So Blight Attack. Still none of that. Trade paths. Alita, get your trade paths.
That's not true.
Wait. First we have to
Yeah,
do Blight.
Blight Attacks.
Yeah,
Blight
Blight
Attacks.
Did you roll the die? I'll roll it.
No. Go ahead.
I'll be game master here. Nothing. Blight does not attack. So on the diamond, basically a Blight would do damage to everything that's around.
Gotcha.
And then Alita gets her extractors. They cook right along.
Yeah.
And you
All
get the
one.
matter converter. That's a pretty
Can't
good get.
believe the one of both influencing suits to just really put me in my place.
All right.
Yeah, can either of you pay taxes this round?
I have my
No.
1 fuel.
Okay.
I have my 1 fuel.
And then we get our first Blight spread event.
And then
And what
Elita, you have to
what
pay
that
your
is
fuel
going to
as you
do is it's going to spawn. So here I'll show this card because this is not part of the small arcs on screen. There we go. Blight spreads. Place a blight on every empty circle slot with the system in a system with pieces. While present, it blocks the circle slot. And then, so first thing we're going to do is put those out. So every planet that doesn't have a circle slot built gets a blight. There we go. Whoops, not that one. These are only ones with player pieces, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So now there is some threat of the blight attacking. This also allows players to harvest resources more readily from their planets. And then this will go away to the coming events spot, which we'll talk about later. And there's that.
And then objective cards?
Yeah, objective cards. No one gets Antiquarian. Alita gets Psychic
True.
for 3. 1,
Yep.
2, 3.
And that's it for those objectives.
And that's it for those objectives. Oops.
We're not doing great. We didn't do great that round.
Yeah, no one did a good job.
All right, and Alita has the lead.
I do not pay my taxes.
Oh my gosh, they.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
so you only have 5. Yeah, I did pay my taxes,
It's all right.
so I get my full 8 this
Josh
time.
knows he just needs to hold down, and then things will start coming up Millhouse for him.
All things considered, I feel pretty good right now.
Yeah, you've got a lot of.
Honestly,
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
think you're you're
because
generally
look-
fine still.
Look at this right here.
Okay, sorry, I need to pitch 2 cards.
Funny reason why the board is made out of hexagons. One, I like hexagons, but two, when you're making an area control board in Illustrator, you would think it'd be easier to draw paths, but then you don't create shapes. And so if you make the board out of hexagons and then you just group the shapes and merge them into single shapes, it's a lot easier to like adjust borders. And so mostly it's just about making the file easy to work in.
So I'm gonna build 1 here, and then take 1 discount on a research.
Oh, here, I see a question in the chat. Somebody was asking about like who draws the 2 and discards down. It's not about who's last in power. It's about who's last in turn order that round. Yeah. So it's always only one
Good.
player.
Question answer.
Here we go.
Alita, why are you getting rid of your cards? Why are you getting rid of all of your cards?
I don't want them.
Don't
Yeah.
need them. Don't want them. Don't need them.
All right. Play the 4. And hope that Nick does not have the 5.
Oh, and then a reminder,
Um,
since this is the last hand, if you can't pay taxes this round, you do lose 2 power instead of the card
Yep.
from the hand. So.
Okay. I think that really wish that I had some materials right now, 'cause I would start building over here. But
Yeah, right. Now for real, just right on top of me. Yeah.
unfortunately-
Force the cohabitation.
Yep, exactly. All right, that's me.
All right, I do have the 5 build, and I'm just gonna build this shit.
Okay.
Thank you.
There you go.
And then I will. Okay, most psychic goods, most material planet. What's gonna be the best way to get this done?
Do we even need to have diplomat out?
No.
Nah, technically not. Oh, did we not grab none of this matters. Don't listen to me. I was about to name something from regular arcs. Here we go. Let's do this.
Oh no.
All right.
Don't worry. I don't think it's as. I'm so torn. Is all I can say. Really, is it all I can really say about it? I'm so torn on what to do here. Yeah. Oh, so this ship can't even go back into the void.
Correct. It's stuck.
Correct. It's true stuck.
They're on a mission. They're
Yeah,
fighting Blight now.
I've changed my mind.
And after we are done with this hand, we will run through the entire intermission phase so people can see how that works.
That's what we're doing instead.
Alrighty.
I guess why would I?
Alita.
Why would I do that when I can just extract 2 right away? I'm just gonna extract 2 right away. This makes more sense. Sorry. Considerations.
Currently, we don't have any agents out. No one's got. No one has that tech.
Yeah, no,
research.
haven't researched one. I'm trying to grab some tech this hand.
Yeah, it's like I think it's really important to like go into the intermission with like 1.
Yeah, you'll catch your game. You won't feel it until games 2 or 3 if you don't have tech. But games 2 and 3, you'll be like, dang, everybody can do all this stuff, and I'm still just playing cards.
Yeah. We are just playing the first act today. We will play the next act next Thursday, and then the final act on the final Thursday of the campaign. Thank you, Milky Way Mammals.
Let's
I
see.
influenced 1.
Okay. Hmm. I think that we will copy.
Someone asked for a comparison about like Arcs' Intermission versus Oaths. There's a bunch of reasons why. I think I like Arcs' Intermission a lot. One, it's a lot shorter, but it has decisions in it, or it has more decisions in it, whereas Oaths is like 80% maintenance, 20% decision. And the 20% of decisions in Oath are decisions being made by one player, whereas Arcs' interface is, 40% maintenance, 60% decisions, but it's players making all the decisions. It's everybody at the table. So it feels a lot more interactive. The game board will be chipboard. It will be like the root game board.
Okay,
It
so
has to be that way so we can
and,
fold it in the box. Thank you. All right. And then, what are we on? Hand.
Alita.
All right, Alita.
Let's see.
I'm curious. Man, I actually kind of like watching this game not knowing what's in y'all's hands. I'm not in Game Master mode anymore. So I have no idea. So Alita's an interesting spot. She's got her library built, researched and built. So she has met her primary objective. And now it's about scooping power from bounties or from objectives, or getting some research, or she might say, you know what, my mission is I want to build a factory on this planet because I want to have that for next game. And so she can kind of use her last part of her turn to do anything she'd like. The campaign, how close is the campaign's board size to root boards? Great question. Here, I'll zoom out to kind of illustrate this. Because we print on US letter here, when we're building maps, I always like to divide them as panels. And so if this is one sheet of paper, like about this, you can see that the 6 panels are like 6 pieces of paper kind of lined up like that. The root board, in contrast, had the pieces of paper like this in portrait. So it's a little more squarish. Whereas this has the same aspect ratio as the John Company 2nd edition board.
All right,
did you all
Alita,
four of
looks
these?
like you're...
I have done mine.
Perfect.
All right, great. So I will play the 5.
I did
And
it stupidly, though.
first we will disengage from these shenanigans over here. Since we're still both friendly regents, I'll just go right back into that trade path. And then for the second one, we're going to take 2 of these damaged ships and one more ship up into there, which, let's do 2. Responsibly. And that's me.
Okay. I'll do this. I'm going to... How much does it cost to defect? Just 1 influence to leave.
1. Ooh.
I'm going to spend 2, sending my young guys into the Ion Storm.
Yep.
Spending 1 of those.
Red, where did you move? Sorry, you moved.
I moved here and here.
Cool. And he was able to move there because, whoops, sorry, I just make sure everything's good. He was able to move there because they share control. They're both Imperial citizens, so he can freely move. They can freely move through each other's systems.
This is what I rolled here, so I got 1 psionic, and then damaged both my guys.
Okay.
And then for the other move, or influence,
Yes, initiative carries over to the next game, so it still very much matters.
Do that.
Okay. I think it's got to be this first. We'll play 3 mobilization. And
Yep, ship seal
one
with
of
2 next. Go ahead, Josh.
for one of these, we're going to move down into this trade path. For the second one, I think that we're going to head on into the Ion Storm as well. See if we can snag
It's Josh's turn.
Can't you not
snag
leave?
a relic from the.
Weren't you
jaws of
pinned here,
the
Josh, though?
beast.
Weren't you pinned?
Oh, did you defect?
Oh, no, I didn't defect yet still. Nope, you're good.
All right,
Sorry.
roll
Yep,
those
yep,
dice.
Yep, yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Boom. All right, take a hit. Take a relic for the Emperor.
And
these people are
third-
hunting for relics because that is the active tax.
Yep, so that was 2, and then third one, I think.
I will say this is a good example of how, like, even though the players have stayed allied and regents the entire game, there's been a lot of fighting and a lot of contention because of how the ally rules work in the game.
We'll just throw one ship in this direction, and that is me.
Oh, I can't wait to seeing how the plot lines are going to develop here. I'm very excited to show folks the intermission.
I want to, man, I know I'm going to regret not having some of these cards.
All right, let's see what's in the market over here. We have construction bots, which is the construction, you can use them, all the icons on them.
We have like the Infinity Gauntlet in it.
Yeah, we have the Infinity Gauntlet. This is good construction cards, good movement cards, good aggression cards.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's all of them. I'll do that just for one there, I guess.
Yep.
All right, Alita.
Okay. Let's see.
And there's going to be some big power gains here because I think, Nick, you're close to this. You're sitting on 3.
Not really.
Oh, no. You know what? Those
yeah.
blended in for me. Yeah.
He's got plenty.
These past couple turns have been me trying to backstop
Spread,
against people leaving, essentially.
Yep. Yellow's built the library. This is actually one of the things I love about this because the board position is carried directly. Yellow built the library here, which means if Alita chooses to defect from the Empire in a later game, her library is here, it kind of in the middle. And choosing where you're going to put specific buildings is really, really important. But we'll see how it all shakes out here.
Did you do something with your action,
I have
Alita?
not done something.
It's all right. This is
let's
second
see.
to last card, right? Third to last for Alita.
Yeah, we were right at the end.
It's just a little.
The recent time I was playing through the library and plotline, I built my library out here, on the edge of the, just on the absolute edge of the board.
I should have done it differently.
It's all set then.
Cool. Oops.
All right.
Okay, last card. It's an aggression card. I think that I'm just gonna finish it out by maybe raiding some Blight over here.
Yeah, the Blight carries over too, so.
Yeah, since it might hit me anyway, could get some weapons. We'll see. We're gonna roll, I think, 2 raids and a bombard.
Okay, I like that little cute mix.
Yeah.
Ooh, bad.
Right, so, yeah, it's not the worst. I don't lose any ships. That was the main thing that I was concerned about. So I take 2, deal 1, and get a weapon.
There you go. And Nick is barely holding onto his fuel lead. You just have 2?
Just have 2. I need... What do I need, though? Okay, I'm going to follow. And I will use this to... Interesting.
Check out these ships just hanging out in the Ion Storm over
Oh, guess
here,
who's
Nick.
about to join you in there, man? I'm about to
Yeah,
hop in the pool. Come in the water's fine type. Yeah, I'm... Seems like a plan. I mean... Yeah, no, I do. I really do.
Silly.
Hey, y'all.
Silly.
What's up? I'm very comfortable with the Ion Storm. I'm very familiar. I've been here many times. Oh no. Okay.
Bad.
Turns out
the
water was ice cold.
It was ice cold. Yeah, we regret it. Okay.
So, now that the Empire controls the Ion Storm, I can now send the Imperial ship in.
Yep, that guy can hop in. Yep.
Oh,
And you
yeah,
shall.
look at that.
One
Yep.
sec. We'll put that right side up.
Just chuck the one die, see how it goes. Yeah. Oops.
And Alita get a relic. No.
Oh,
No dice.
No dice at
just
all.
damage.
Just damage. Just a bloody nose. And then final card play here with Nick.
It's me.
Ooh, saving the one.
It's a question. There's a lot of. There's some
Yeah, you
questions
kind of
here.
lost some ships right there.
There's kind of some questions here about how I spend this. Man. Okay. I really want to get the psionic up. Let's It's so risky and stupid. I can buy ships at no. You can buy.
Yeah, you
build
can.
actions
Yeah, you can.
at the end of the game.
Yep.
But you can only do it once.
But you only do it once per building, so that's like you got to be
Yes,
careful.
I'm gonna
with
get one ship.
Oh well,
So I'm gonna-
I will say that is like I'm getting ready to not revise,
sure,
but like
sure.
really interrogate the power spending rules because I have an idea for them, but I need to do some testing on it.
Let's. I guess I'm already leading it. Let's do it. We're going out and back in. One more time.
One more time.
All right. I don't get anything because I died, right?
Correct.
die.
Correct. The golden rule of rating is if there's no
You have to have someone
survivors.
survive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oops. Not all three. Those two are gone though. Okay, last one. I'll use as a battle here to battle the blights that's on
Yep.
my planet, and I will chuck 3 dice at him like this.
Yeah,
Man, it's
Ion
tough.
Storm needs to be a little bit clearer that follows all those normal
Yeah,
raid
totally.
rules. Yep.
Yeah. And then I get 1 fuel from him.
Put
That's
it
all
in the
my cards.
notebook.
All my
Putting it
actions.
in the notebook right now.
All right, and then Alita, final card.
And
Will
since-
Alita defect?
And since I have the matter converter, I get to use both of those.
Correct. Yep, you could produce some
Oh,
material.
dang. When did you research the matter converter? I'm not paying enough attention.
Beginning of this
It
turn.
was a while ago,
Nice.
I thought. Or oh no, that was when I complained that you got rid of all of your cards.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Nice. It's a good. That's a good final little bout there. Yeah, you could snag this card, Alita, with that influence action.
That might be the best bet.
Look at this monstrous Alita dominates the regime board.
Are we doing the...
Yes.
Well, I guess we'll see what the interface is at this point.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna do it. Okay, that's the end of the hand. So we're gonna resolve end of hand. First, the blight. See if it attacks. Ooh, you guys
Yay,
so
dude.
lucky.
Safe.
Thank God.
No blight
Thank
attack.
God.
All right, and then trade paths. Josh,
Yes.
both. Josh gets both. And then Alita, build with your factories and produce with your extractors. Extract with your extractors. Sorry. And then this is locked in a tie. So it is the last turn of the game, so this will just get discarded. There's no way we're gonna hold that level of detail. Okay. And then everybody pay your tax.
2 points for me.
2 points
I
down
was
for
not
Nick.
able to pay my taxes
Then,
for the first time
then
this
take 2 points
That's
off
2
your
points.
score. And then who's got the most psionic? Sorry, my camera's all tilty.
I have
No.
1.
Oh, you've
Nick
got
has
one.
one.
3 points for Nick.
Yep.
And then mining chief, who control
all
the
that
most
ion
material
storm.
planets.
That'd be me, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
We are... Oh, you...
What?
No, we're
Nope.
tied.
Tied there.
Oh, wait.
But he
Never mind.
controls that. Yep.
Yeah, but
he's good.
Yep, you're good.
So
I got it at
Yep. So 3 points for
points for
Nick
Josh.
there.
But I get...
Or Josh.
Yep.
I'll take it.
Do you get one? You do not because.
What?
Oh wait, sorry. Yes, of
I'm
course.
second place.
But you don't
Alita is
control
second.
this.
Oh.
Oh
It's
yeah,
tied.
correct, we're tied. Yep.
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
is
it's you have
tied.
0.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sucks.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Then we check in-game bounties. Does anyone control more fuel planets than Nick? I don't think so.
No.
And then does anyone have more fuel than Nick? No. And then does anyone have more
Nope.
relics than Alita? No. And then
It only
took
one.
I don't think
it only took
anybody.
one.
I don't think anyone's
Telling you.
scoring any points from these in-game bounties. No one got really torn into it. Okay, cool. And now we are ready to do the interface. All right. So I will refer to this little sheet right here, and I'll let me look at my camera here so I can make sure to have it up properly for the viewers. Okay, so here's the intermission. First thing that we do is we check for victory. No one has any victory conditions, so we skip this step. Then we resolve and draw fates. So this can be done in real time. And basically what's going to happen, I'll use Alita's as an example. She is playing the librarian, and she has the Great Library on the map. So she gets her top resolution. And so Alita, you should go ahead and call packet 1. Now, the way this mod works is we have a little function written by the same person who did the Oath mod, that if you type in !V and then the name of the packet, it will spawn the packet. And then I'm going to just run through Alita's packet here. And Nick and Josh, you're welcome to spawn. Well, actually, we'll do each of them individually. So normally, I'll just say, this game took, 70 minutes, I think? Something like that, minus explanation. And normally, we would do this step at the same time. We're not going to do it at the same time because I want to walk through each player's. But so know that this part's gonna be a little longer than usual. Okay, so the way this works is every packet has a cover page, and then it has cards in it. So first, place the Seeker Librarian's tech on your player board. So Alita has unlocked her Seeker Librarians. Then we're gonna add 2 new Student Pilgrims. The Student Pilgrims get added to the market deck. So these are gonna go up here to the new market deck, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then lastly, choose a fate. You can either be the Galactic Surveyor or you get a random Act 2 seed. And so you may choose the Galactic Surveyor or the Pathfinder. And Alita, I will let you make that choice by yourself without the influence of me. And I will then go over and we can check the next packet. It's got to be, I don't know. Who wants to do it next? We'll do Josh next.
I'm just getting
we'll do it. All right, first thing, Imperial Courtiers and Knights of the Empire are added to the left of the regime board. So I'll do that.
Yep, so do you want to go ahead and put all these cards face up on the table, just for the camera?
Sure. I will put them all there. There's a lot of them for the steward. So here we go.
Okay, so here are all the cards in packet C8. So first thing that's going to happen is Imperial Courtiers and Knights of the Empire, they are getting added to the regime board, and I'll explain what these things do. Knights of the Empire means Imperial ships, the ones that remain. Oh yeah, sorry, what were Josh's resolutions? So Josh had 8 systems under Imperial control. The Empire has been restored, a new and decadent society blossoms, and intrigue spreads through the core worlds. So he puts these 2 cards out here. Knights of the Empire says, hey, Imperial ships, when they fight, they roll 2 dice, not 1. And then
now you guys know why I was getting rid of them.
Yeah, and then there's a second effect we'll talk about later. And then Imperial Courtiers say, hey, any influence cubes on public actions are now called Courtiers. Courtiers can move in battle among these influence spots, so they can move around and fight each other, and they only take one die to kill. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2, place the First Minister to the left of the Imperial tax card in the public row. So I will move that down here. Okay, so here's the Imperial First Minister. The way this works is this is a little bidding spot. So the Imperial First Minister is a bidding spot. The player with the most courtiers in this box becomes the First Minister. And the previous First Minister can decide if to be an outlaw or to become a regent again. Critically, the Imperial tax is no longer decided randomly. Now the First Minister chooses what the tax is, and any tax that is paid to the First Minister. All right, that's the First Minister. And then these Knight Courtiers get added to the new market deck. And so what this is doing is that market deck of 12 cards with those techs, now instead of just using cards from the regular market, a big portion of the cards in the market are cards that are being added by the plot lines. So for example, we have these student pilgrims, which are trying to get to the library. And if you give them a ride to the library, they'll give you a reward. And then these knight courtiers help you influence the court to become first minister. Okay. And then, all right, now Josh, yes. Okay, so now Josh's card is a little interesting. I'm going to talk through this kind of slowly. So now Josh gets to choose. You'll see that there are 2 cards left. And here's how this works. Josh gets to choose a fate. He can pick the Scheming Minister or a random Act 2 fate. So we'll snag a random Act 2 fate. Here you go, Josh. And then you'll see that at the bottom, the last condition here on this card is if Josh chooses the Scheming Minister, he gets the new Imperial Court. If he doesn't choose the new Imperial Court, it just gets discarded into the scrap heap. And so some tech cards, like the new Imperial Court is important if you're playing this particular tech or this particular fate. If you're not playing it, you just throw this card into the discard. Okay.
Well, I am absolutely choosing Scheming Region. So
yeah. Okay. Well, you don't want to be the
Empire
Blight.
is
course.
strong. The
Okay.
Empire is strong.
All right. Now we're gonna do Nick's. I'm gonna rotate my camera here. There we go. Okay, Nick. He gets to add my favorite dang old thing in this game.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. So
this is the exhaust. Oh, go ahead. You talk.
Oh yeah. I'll talk. So first step is add the exhausted universe card beside the resource stacks. So what this card does is now whenever a resource card is discarded, place it face up in the stack above this card. And as an influence action, you can put influence on this card. And as a production action, you take resources from the top of this stack equal to your influence there, and then you remove your influence. So here's what this does. Instead of cards going back to the banks, they now get discarded into a face-up discard pile. And then you can spend influence actions to put cubes on here. And then when you take a production action, you can remove your cubes and take that many cards from this deck. So now this is the real zero-sum economy game.
You thought the economy was bad before.
Yeah, now it's going to get real bad. I will say the general design principle here is if players slam dunk their conditions, it complicates the game the most. It adds the most rules. When players get the lesser resolutions, it keeps the boat like roughly a little bit more stable. So as players get better at the game, they get to unlock more of that stuff. Okay. And then, Nick gains the 2 business contracts. And the business contracts are quest items. And at the start, for every set of 2 planets where you have any pieces, you get a resource of that planet. So these business contracts can be stolen from Nick, but they're also going to be used to generate resources. And then finally, Nick can choose if he wants to become the shipping guild.
And I decided I will remain the shipping guild.
Okay, cool. So you don't want to take the other one. I'll just show this as an example.
Please,
though.
yeah, surely.
So as an example, the way this works is like, okay, Nick can do the shipping guild, or he can become the Lord of Rot and get the cosmic worms to like hollow out planets and really mess up the game economy even more. So you can do either one.
Because it does give me a lot of. It makes my I don't know. This one's fun, but I'll stay the course. We'll stay the course for now.
Okay, so then one thing I'll say about this condition, and actually, you know what we'll do? Actually, go ahead and I'll kind of start with Nick, and I'll go around the table. So Nick is selecting the shipping guild. His goal is to get ships in 10 systems. Okay, so that doesn't seem super hard. But critically, Nick now has these guild ships. And guild ships, the way they work is, can you fight with your guild ships? I can't remember.
You can. They just,
yeah, you can. You know what it is? I just didn't correct this icon.
Oh, sure.
So the way the guild ships work is other players are de-incentivized from taking them out of spots. So when your last ship is removed, the attacker has to give you a point because you're just the shipping guild. And move, if you only move one ship, you ignore control. I actually think that you don't get to fight with your ships. I need to double check.
That would make sense.
Because so Nick, his ships lose the ability to fight, but he is able to move them, and he's trying to spread them out. And this has very important ramifications if he is able to successfully do it for how it changes the game in the next in the next act. Okay, cool. It's a real head spinner where it's going to go. All right, let's take Alita's victory condition as an example here too. So her resolution now as the Galactic Surveyor is she wants to get 3 secret librarians on planets next to all 3 hazard types. This one actually needs a slight rewrite. It still works, but basically there are these 3 hazard types. She's trying to get pieces all over the map. The rework of this, just because this condition existed before we put out the IDs, I can now make it a lot easier to have your pieces out. So there's going to be a slight adjustment to this. Basically, she needs to get 3 librarians, which are her secret librarians, and she's got to spread them out as far as she can. And that's her main goal. Her librarians collect resources as they move around, and her library allows her to harvest more cards. Now, critically, you look at Alita's board, it's getting kind of full. But she can cover up text that she is, these base texts, and say, you know what, I actually don't want to build factories anymore. I would rather have this special power. And this is where in the later acts you start getting factions that are like, hey, my faction doesn't build buildings, but my ships can, jump across the map or whatever. Okay, so that's where Alita's sitting. Josh, his goal is Imperial players have to control 5 planets, and Josh needs to be the first regent. So right now the Empire is very strong. Once people start having to give Josh taxes, they might feel less comfortable with this. And Josh will, of course, start the game as the first regent. And we'll be doing that technically in the setup step, which we'll get to in a little bit. Okay. All right. Now let's go. So hopefully, by the way, chat, you can get a sense of why the single session makes sense now. Trust us.
Throw this whole thing
Just
at someone.
trust us. All right. We've made games before. All right. So we have revealed it. We've resolved and drawn the fates. Now, again, normally this would have all happened simultaneously. And it takes like 5 minutes, but because I went through everybody's, it takes a little longer. Okay. Now we do this in turn order. We get to pay upkeep and make purchases. So I'm going to read this out, and Nick, you could just go ahead and start doing this.
Yep.
First, Nick can discard any text from his hold to get 1 power for every card discarded. Yeah, so this is a way of cashing out your text. Then count up all the cards in your hold and all the pieces on the board. Divide by 2, round up. You got to pay that much power. So basically, every piece in play costs half a power to hold.
So I have 14 cards currently. So it's gonna earn things.
Things. So it's 7. Yep. And then Nick can spend his remaining power. These prices are a little different from the last time you played, Nick. Any resource costs 3. Taking the build action costs 2. And the research or produce action costs 1.
Okay. I will, and I have just a simple 5 here to spend. Pretty easy then. I will gain any resource into my hold, I think, for 2 or for 3.
Quick question, Cole.
Yes.
Do the Imperial ships count towards all of our upkeep?
Oh, they should count for all of your upkeeps.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
If you're a citizen,
8.
yes. So just add a power spend because
You're right.
there's
Should
2.
be 1 more down. Yep.
Yep.
Well, that means that's fine then. So I'll spend my 3 still that I was now. That's where I just marked myself down to gain a resource, and I want I can't attack. That's confirmed. Then I don't want weapons. I will take a relic.
Yeah, take a relic. Okay,
and then I have
you
1
got
more
one
to
more.
spend, and I'll do it just to
Take a fuel.
Take the research, and I'll just I'll take a produce. And just take a fuel.
Okay, you are. Oh yeah, remember these do not count for your hold limit, so you're good.
Yes, that's why I'm okay. And this is a produce just 1 icon, correct? Producing. I'm not activating all my extractors. That's the entire thing.
So spending, you definitely have to spend. One thing that we'll probably be adding is if you can't afford upkeep, you have to start discarding things. That's not currently in the game right now, but that's something.
That's why I wanted to check.
Yeah, that's something I'm working on. Oh yeah, right. Because Alita, you're going to get zeroed,
Because
right?
I am broke.
What was your power deficit?
Let's see.
How much do you still owe? Because it's 1,
1,
2.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
So 18, 9, you were just down
two power deficit.
2 power deficit. Yeah, I mean, it would probably be like for each one you don't have, you lose a piece or something. Which I actually, let's just go ahead and implement it. Why not, right? This is why I'm happy we don't have to.
Sorry,
no.
Yeah, because I may have made some decisions based on that. But,
Oh, well, then don't worry. Well, no. I would say no. You lose some pieces.
It's open dev, yeah.
Yeah, it's open dev.
Just, this brings up a question. Can I choose to lose the Imperial ships?
No, you cannot.
Well, I don't want them. Okay.
No. But they're going to protect you. They'll keep you safe.
And how many do I have to lose?
You were down 2 power, so you have to lose 2 pieces. Yeah, you could also lose like a card from your hold. There you go. Okay, and then
I think it makes sense for pieces or cards.
Yep, 100%.
Probably, yeah.
And then Josh, you've already done yours.
I've already done my upkeep. I got those two power from the 2 ships left, and that gave me just enough to have a little to spend in the end. So I am going to be researching. I'm going to research these sprinters. So spending out 3 different resources. And that was 1. And then for the other 2, I'm just going to build.
I think Nick flew into the Ion Storm like 4 times. While Josh is deciding that, I'll just say, to give you an example of some wild asymmetry in this game, if Alita were to research both of these things, let's say, her faction would be the faction that has no buildings, but is essentially playing with a super hand that gets almost always to use all the actions on her cards. So you can get like pretty wild different positions here. So this is actually pretty good tech footing. Okay, let's close it out then. All right, so cleanup. Here's what happens now. So everybody, can you go ahead and repair everything that's on the board? Everything should just get fully repaired.
Yep.
And then going here to the cleanup step, basically this new market deck, it needs to have 12 cards in it. So what we would do is I go to this and I say, all right, it's Act 2, so we need 3 breakthroughs, the remainder a card from the regular market deck. So I'm going to add 1, 2, 3 breakthroughs. We have 7 cards, which means we need 5 cards. So I'll just split this. And those 5 cards, whoops, not that from this deck, sorry. Psych. From first this deck. This is the discard pile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we have our 12 cards. The 2 Blight events get mixed in. Shoop. And then this is our new market deck. The remainder of these cards get stuck back in the regular market. Okay. And now we are...
Oh, quick small thing. Let's all grab our cubes off the bounties.
Oh, yeah. Grab your cubes off the bounties. For sure.
Set those up next time.
And then shuffle that, make the mark. Everybody gets to their undamaged, and we're all good to go. All right, so that kind of set the stage for the next game. Everyone is pursuing their kind of mainline plot lines. We've got the court system in play here. We've got the zero-sum economy resource system in play here. You'll see how those work next time. Nick didn't... Well, I guess Nick disrupted the rules a little bit that way. Now, I think one of the main questions we're going to be going into the next game with is if the Empire can hold together once people start having to pay their taxes to Josh is going to be the big question. But hopefully that gives you all a sense of kind of what is going on in the game. I'll say in general about the content design. So I've talked a lot about how there are 8 different seeds, 3 at each length. Right now we have 4 of the first act, or the long length seeds. We have 4 of them done, and then we have 5 of the middle length seeds, and we have 6 of the short length seeds done. So the overall game content here is about 60 to 70% through like first wave content generation, and I'm hoping that probably by the end of the campaign I'll have a little bit more done, but most of the work is paused right now because of the Kickstarter campaign. But in general, in terms of overall content, we're way beyond where Oath was. There's just so many more things that have been done for the game, and we'll show you a lot more about how all this works. All right, and that is the... so you don't get any new market cards outside the plot lines and breakthroughs. That's right, correct. The market cards kind of get locked. There's currently a lot of debate about if the discard from the market should get mixed in with the regular market and then drawn from. Maybe that makes sense. I don't know. We're still figuring it out. How do you save the game physically? I'm just going to say a quick note about this. The plan is every player is going to have their own box for all their unbuilt pieces. This will help keep the area of play kind of tidy. And then everything that's on the board, you put in a bag. And everything that is not built, you put in your little box. And you also can like put the cards in your hold, and on your player board, you just put them facing each other. So, one's your hold, one's your player board. So all that will pack away, but before you pack away, you can use a record sheet to record the positions of all the pieces. It doesn't take very long. Pretty simple notation system. And of course, if you're going to be playing, 2 games in a row or something, it's easy to just leave the game set up. All right. That is it. I would explain the campaign seeds again, except I've done it like 3 times. We will talk about more later, and you can catch the earlier parts of the stream. I want to thank everybody for joining us. I had a lovely time showing you the game, and we will be back next Thursday. Actually, let me rewind that. On Tuesday at 2 p.m., I will be doing a design stream. There will be some small plot spoilers, but I'll be showing you some of the back end about how we do the card generation and how we're kind of thinking about this game. And then also talk about the things that we're thinking about. I want to talk about the work that needs to be done on the campaign game and on the single session game, and talk a little bit about process. And then on next Thursday, we'll be going to Act 2 of this game. And before I forget, Nick, can you please save this game with a very clear... I already did. Okay, good. A very clear file name. I'm gonna save it too, because I'm just, I'd hate to lose it. Saving it right now. I'm gonna call it KS Stream because that seems reasonable. Okay. And everybody gets to watch my bad naming conventions on stream. Excellent. All right. Well, that's it. Thank you all. And we will hopefully be releasing the campaign mode for people to fool around with. Again, it's pretty rough, but there's a lot of fun stuff to be played, hopefully sometime later next week. Thank you all again for watching, and we will see you soon.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody.
Have a great night.